Boone and Crockett Country, presented by Loophole.
Signs of successful large mammal conservation and management are everywhere. This is most obvious with the quantity and quality of game we see today when afield. What may not be as obvious without further research is how some areas that today are known for offering a high percentage of trophy-class game gained their reputation among selective sportsmen. A good example is southeastern Alberta. The Canadian provinces are blessed with some of North America's last, best unspoiled habitats and a healthy variety of big game species. And Alberta is no exception. For the deer hunter, Alberta has long been known for its super-sized whitetails, as one Google search under Alberta hunting will confirm. For decades, and still to this day, Alberta is the whitetail destination dreams are made of. What has until recently taken a back seat to the tremendous whitetail bucks of Alberta is the province's other deer, the mule deer. Mule deer have been present in Alberta throughout recorded history. The first such deer to register with Boone and Crockett records was a non-typical buck taken in 1910. Like most of our antlered game, in the early days of records keeping, it was the non-typical specimens that made it to the book because of their rarity and unusual headgear. It wasn't until 1931 that the first typical mule deer from Alberta was entered to record. Since that time, a few mule deer from Alberta have made their way to the records book, but very few. At least that was the case until the 1990s. Jack Franklin is a longtime outfitter guiding his clients across the deer-rich prairie zones of southeastern Alberta. His family started a tire business in 1956, servicing the needs of local ranchers and oil and gas drilling crews, a trade that allowed him to become acquainted with local ranchers and their holdings. George Cook is what Franklin would consider his archetypical mule deer client, one who's been around, knows what he is looking for, knows what he is looking at when he sees it, and prefers the wide open spot and stalk approach to mule deer hunting.
No more than 22 outside. Main beam might be 22-ish. G2's 15 to 16 max. 3's maybe 8. 4's maybe 10.
We know there's groups in here with this one particular wide buck that I want to get a good close look at. We'll go over there, take a look. We're going to walk into the wind. It's a little bit cold and chilly, but hopefully maybe we'll be able to find him. He should be there, and we'll decide whether we want to take a run at him or not. We may end up having to go around again. Yep. But I just want to check this out, so I'll just peek over here and take a quick look and see what we got here.
This will be Cook's 9th campaign with Franklin's Lost Creek Outfitters. As Cook puts it, I have to come back when I can. I've watched this area boom over the years. The boom Cook is referring to began in the late 1980s, when Alberta Fish and Wildlife made a bold move to better manage the mule deer herds in the province's southeastern prairie region. Being Cook's 9th time glassing and crawling the Red Deer River country for a trophy mule deer, he had set a high benchmark for his 2009 tag. Having previously taken bucks with Franklin's tutelage ranging from 180 to 195 B and C, a round wasn't going to be chambered for a buck under 185. This may seem a bit lofty for some, but it has been the selective hunter who has helped gain Alberta its reputation for trophy mule deer. To get to a point in time where sportsmen like Cook could set their sights so high, Alberta Fish and Game instituted a game management plan that was groundbreaking for its time. The plan set out to address the mule deer's susceptibility to hunting pressure in open terrain.
When mule deer inhabit open country, as opposed to forested mountains, buck harvest must be managed more closely. Research clearly shows that less security cover means bucks are more vulnerable to harvest, especially during the rut. This can result in higher hunt success, but a lower buck age structure. This scenario can be good or bad depending on your management objectives for that area.
Boone and Crockett Country is in partnership with the Wild Sheep Foundation, putting and keeping sheep on the mountain. Remington Arms and Ammunition, welcome to Remington Country. And the Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation and ethical hunting worldwide.
In the early 1990s, the Alberta Fish and Game Department initiated a comprehensive plan to improve the quality of the mule deer herd. First, they limited the once month-long November rifle deer season to just 3 days a week. This reduced hunting pressure during the critical mule deer breeding season, allowing for uninterrupted days of natural selection. Secondly, resident hunters who wanted to hunt a mule deer buck now had to apply for a permit versus buying a tag over the counter every season, as in the past. Waiting to draw was made a bit more palatable because residents could still purchase over-the-counter tags to hunt a whitetail, the deer less vulnerable to overharvest due to their affection for the river bottoms and brush thickets of the region. Lastly, guide and outfitter operations that before could hunt their clients anywhere in the province were now assigned permits by game management zone. This gave game managers better control of the number of mule deer bucks taken in a given area and distributed hunting pressure. The results were almost instantaneous. In less than 2 years, population numbers grew, and what was a rare occurrence to see a heavy-horned, mature mule deer buck in the breaks and rolling prairie between Calgary and the Saskatchewan border became commonplace. Southeastern Alberta also offers non-resident hunters another rare opportunity. In some zones, it is possible to hold both a mule deer and a whitetail tag, and fill both. Like many areas in the West, both species overlap in range. In the zones Franklin is permitted for, a typical day spent looking to pin down a good mule deer buck could shift into whitetail mode at any time. Selective trophy hunters tend to also be the most experienced. Knowing when not to pull the trigger and force a bad shot comes with experience. The favored method of hunting mule deer in this wide open space is to forget that, at first glance, the country appears wide open with no cover. Franklin knows that what looks flat and therefore void of cover and deer is actually crisscrossed with nooks, crannies, folds, and hiding places, all of which the local deer have learned to their advantage. Franklin prefers a morning drive or glassing from what elevation is available, searching for standing deer before the prairie swallows them up. Then it's an on-foot and belly affair, peeking into known cracks in the landscape, depressions that can often be no bigger than a tennis court, with knee-high brush in the bottom. By mid-morning, you're left just glassing for antler tips.
Mule deer are remarkable in their ability to disappear in a landscape seemingly devoid of cover. It's not uncommon to watch a group of deer in the morning, only to have them vanish, and then later in the afternoon magically reappear in the same area, as if they crawled out of the ground. Where vegetative cover is lacking on the landscape, mule deer use topography to their advantage and hide in the small cuts and draws that provide visual obstruction in seemingly wide open country. While this ability to hide in the smallest of places has fooled many hunters, it can be used to your advantage if you pay attention to these areas during midday. By knowing the country well, you can be successful in predicting just where these bucks ought to be.
It's hard to see. The bucks will be in here, just not ready at this particular time.
find a stalk up here on this buck that we found before lunch. And we came up here and found him. He's at 325 yards. He's obliging us for a shot. He's just not the critter we're looking for. It's our second white encounter of the day. We get an A for the stalk, but our buck's not an A buck, so the search continues. Shall we?
Carry on? Hey, good deal.
Optical Insights presented by Leupold, America's Optics Authority.
Sooner or later, we will all be faced with the decision whether or not to take a long-range shot. Hi, I'm Tim Lesser. In these situations, it's imperative to know exactly where to hold. Leupold's custom dial system, or CDS, was designed to help hunters make longer distance shots with complete confidence. The CDS dial is no larger than standard field adjustments, but this dial has been specifically engraved to match the exact trajectory of your ammunition. With the CDS, there is no need to send your scope to the Leupold custom shop. You can purchase the scope off the shelf, then simply call Leupold once you know which ammunition you'll be shooting. For hand loaders, Leupold can even match your exact trajectory. A quick phone call to 1-800-LEUPOLD gets a perfectly matched dial on the way to your house, where you can replace the factory dial with the matched dial. With the dial set to the appropriate distance, it will be one less thing to think about as you prepare for taking a longer distance shot.
Optical Insights has been brought to you by Leupold, America's Optics Authority. Boone and Crockett Country is in partnership with Buck Knives, knives that fit your life, and the Pope and Young Club, for the good of bow hunting.
What was once a 6-day-a-week season was reduced to 3 days a week and then increased to 4 days a week in 2007. 4 days in game-rich country might seem enough, but if you have your heart set on a trophy, time can compress even in the best of deer country. Even after looking over several very respectable mule deer bucks in their first day and a half, Franklin and Cook had yet to lock down the type of buck they both knew could be just over the next rise.
Okay, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna let you guys go up this side and get in a good vantage place where you can take a look at, down into this little draw here. I'll go around and push this bush, and if something comes out, you be ready. You know what you're looking for, so it should be no problem at all. We're gonna have to crosswind, and then we'll be coming back into the wind, but if we go up and circle and come back to this area, this is their primary, as you could refer to it, a core area where we get bucks, both whitetail and mule deer, bedding in here on a regular basis. Maybe we'll come across something. It's the middle of the day. Things aren't really all that brisk right now, so we're just gonna have to make things happen. So we'll go for a walk and a hike and put on some miles and see what we can come up with.
I got 2 mule deer over here.
Yeah.
One's a little guy buck.
What gonna do?
There is one thing that does keep you on your toes, and that is shifting into whitetail mode when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I see the doe.
Okay, I think I saw.
see the doe.
Okay, I saw a set of antlers, so there's a buck there with her, so we're gonna have to be careful. Just sit tight, be patient, wait for him to stand up. If he gets up by himself, he'll be completely at ease. Should be an easy shot. George.
So all you had to say was, think Africa, think Africa.
Think Africa.
Think Africa, nice shot. Wow.
Hey, nice buck.
Boy,
Good shot, George.
he's quite a bit better than I first thought. 10 point, sweet.
Nice and heavy. Good job, George.
Thanks, Jack. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Having 2 deer tags in your pocket can be both a blessing and a curse. For Cook, his quest for a trophy mule deer, win, lose, or draw, was made a bit sweeter with an opportunity for a bonus prairie whitetail.
Okay, had a good stalk, got close. Could have shot the buck, probably 150, 200 yards, but he just wasn't quite big enough. I thought he was a buck that we were looking for, but he wasn't. Once we got a good look and he turned around, stood up, got a good look at him dead on. Excellent eye guards, and the forks were all nice, and he's, you know, most places probably you'd shoot him in a heart blink, but it's just one of those deals that we're not going to happen for us. So hope you're not too disappointed. Excellent stalk though.
No, it worked out great. I mean, we called the little path in, and he was there, and outstanding eye guard, great frame. Like you said, he's a boomer in a year.
In another year, he'll be instant shooter.
In some other places, he probably gets tipped over if we're in Montana, but we're not. We're on the prairies of eastern Alberta.
Yeah, trying to find the elusive Mr. Gigantic. So
The search
the
continues.
search continues. Onward.
That's the buy-in. Being hyper-selective often means better luck next year. It also optimizes one of the most indelible traits of the recreational sportsman, that the pursuit is the reward. A kill secondary.
Boone and Crockett Country has been brought to you by Leupold, America's Optics Authority, and the Boone and Crockett Club, fair chase and conservation since 1887.
The selective hunter has played a vital role in big game conservation for decades, and will continue to do so. The intent of the Alberta Fish and Game Mule Deer Conservation Program was not solely to produce more and bigger deer. It was driven by the need to take better control of the overall well-being of a species born of the prairie, but susceptible to too much pressure from modern-day long-range hunting. Balancing recreational opportunity, antler and body size potential, and herd health is a challenge faced by every game department. The tool used to make this work has always been the cooperative sportsman. Game managers can only use their best science to identify a problem and come up with a solution. It is up to the executors of the plan to accept the new rules and give the idea a chance. In southeast Alberta, the issue was a mule deer population subject to too much hunting pressure. The fix was as simple as new rules. The challenge was the buy-in from all stakeholders. Our hats must come off to the resident hunters of this region for stepping up to the new plan, even if it meant sitting out a mule deer season or two. The same accolades must go to the landowners who made allowances for the province's abundant wildlife resources. A tip of the cap must also go to the Alberta Professional Outfitters Association and its members for their commitment to conservation and the resource, ensuring quality experiences for their guests this season and next. We often refer to trophy hunters as selective hunters. The truth is, trophy or not, all of these groups are selective hunters. individuals and groups who take it upon themselves to adjust to what is needed for the good of wildlife and their cherished hunting traditions. This is the cornerstone of North American conservation, one of the most successful systems of natural resource perpetuation in the history of man.
Closed captioning provided by the Dallas Safari Club, promoting conservation and ethical hunting worldwide.